Boldr. Clever play on words, and one that Singaporean-based Boldr watch company seem to live by. Playful colours, case shapes, materials, quartz, mechanical, you name it, they've probably done it. Adding to their repertoire is the newly announced and their first diver, GMT, the Odyssey Freediver, GMT. And not any GMT either. Boldr is one of the first brands to offer the Miyota 9075 movement housing a flyer GMT complication, i.e. by jumping the hour hand in the first crown position, independent of the GMT minute hand. That's now two companies, Trasker being the other, in short succession implementing this new movement with the illustrious, to watch nerds anyway, flyer GMT complication. Point to note, this is a working prototype of the final that's just gone on sale, but I'll point out any changes as we go along. Keeping the same sizing of the previous generation, the case comes in with a dimension of 44mm and a lug-to-lug of 51.7mm. This is certainly a bold and biggish piece, but with angular lugs and a thickness of 13.9mm, it helps tame the size a little bit. 22mm lug width finishes off our dimensions, and this package weighs in at 196 grams on Bracelet, with a pricing set of $899 US. The surgical stainless steel case is satin finished with polished edges on its before mentioned signature angular lugs, while the updated slimmer profile, compared to previous generations, gives it an elegant touch that makes it quite versatile. Note, the final model will have even cleaner lines as compared to the model here. There's small crown guards that are polished on top and transition nicely to a satin brush finished on the side of the case. On wrist, it certainly has presence, and personally, this spec watch is at my limit on my 17cm wrist, and I would suggest it's probably not for those under roughly around 16 3/4. The semi-brushed and polished 3-link style bracelet is well finished with screw pins and has a very slight taper towards the double push clasp with a flip lock security latch. There's a huge amount of adjustment in the buckle with 6 micro adjustments, so sizing should not be an issue. This model will arrive with both a stainless steel bracelet and rubber strap, both with quick release functions for ease of change, which is a great bonus and a perfect match for that traveller diver owner. At the 3 position, there's a very well-sized, signed, screw-down crown that's super easy to manipulate, especially with the impressive knurling. Winding of the Miyota 9075 caliber movement is quite smooth, and once pulled to the first position, we immediately have access to that wonderful jumping hour hand. This function allows quick time changing without interrupting timekeeping. The date can also be adjusted with movement of the hour hand through midnight, although there's no quick set date. In the second position, there's hacking of the seconds hand, and of course the ability to change time along with changing of the GMT hand. A full wind of this new Miyota movement provides 42 hours of power reserve. There's also a hefty 300 meters of water resistance because it's a dive watch after all. The case back will feature custom artwork of the Cuvier's beaked whale having a great time playing in the waves. The artwork, so I've been told by the founder, was inspired by the famous Japanese Great Wave of Kanagawa, reflecting the brand's tribute to its Japanese Miyota movement and the blissful freedom of being in the ocean. I'm personally more of a see the movement or not kind of enthusiast, but it's a nice tribute nonetheless. On the outer, there's a unidirectional 120 click ceramic, yes, ceramic bezel that is dual toned and graduated for 24 hours. Operation is smooth and clicks into place nicely, and while the bezel is thin, the groove portions are designed well and fit my fingers perfectly. This bezel, along with the inner 24-hour scale on the arrow-tipped GMT hand, allows tracking up to 3 time zones simultaneously. My only dislike is the 120-click unidirectional bezel. I prefer a bidirectional bezel on watches with GMT functions as it just makes more sense. The numerals are all loomed on the bezel, which is certainly a very nice touch indeed. The bezels come in 3 classic colour options, black and moss green, black and chocolate brown, and the black and crimson red, as you see here. I'm really digging the now popular black and red bezel, and I think it looks great. Perhaps the most striking feature on the watch is its dial, designed with a multi-layered gradient effect and translucent centre. The dial centre alludes to being closer to the surface and then getting darker towards the edge of the dials to signify increasing ocean depth. Do note that the final product will have a darker faded black for even more depth to the dial. The gradient dial is really cool, and I like the idea of seeing some of the mechanics without seeing everything. Just a little bit of a tease. On the outer chapter ring, there's a 24-hour subscale immediately surrounded by a substantial minutes track. There are very large batten indices that are filled with a generous amount of Swiss superluminova. The large batten minute and hour hand finish off the handset. I like the black contrasting on the hour and minute hands and the second hand to make differentiation easy. The only downside here is such a large handset is that the GMT hand does get covered each hour for about 3 to 4 minutes. The date window is tucked away halfway between the 4 and 5. It doesn't bother me, but I know it will trigger some. The Boldr Odyssey GMT is an exciting step forward for not only Boldr but watch enthusiasts alike. Having a more accessible flyer GMT is fantastic news. It's a great diver travel companion and will tick a lot of boxes for many. Personally, I'd love to see this exact package, but in Boldr's smaller 40mm freediver case, which would make it even more versatile for a larger audience perhaps. But the fact that we have a dual-coloured ceramic bezel 300m GMT diver for less than $1,000 USD is phenomenal, and I tip my hat to Boldr for always pushing the limits to bring more affordable watches with great specs and materials to the table. Thanks for watching the review, hope you enjoyed it. Please do all that good stuff. Like, subscribe and share. If you want to follow more daily content, head over to my Instagram page at Mr. Ace K Productions. Until next time.